Alrighty guys, I'm going to get straight to the point on this episode today. This episode in the podcast is all about the top 10 most badass arm wrestlers on the planet today. So I'm not going to be sugarcoating this one. I'm not going to be going off necessarily anything other than my own opinion on this thing. I am a committed follower of the sport of arm wrestling, and these 10 people for me are who I see as the current, and I emphasize current, most badass arm wrestlers on the planet. Now, I'm not necessarily going to even focus on any given arm. Whether it's the right arm, left arm, doesn't mean much to me. It could be in either, but look, predominantly I give more weight to right arm wrestlers. Although the left arm is just as important in some people's eyes, I do believe firmly that the right arm is the premier arm. And so the people on this list are predominantly going to be right arm dominant arm wrestlers. But that being said, this top 10 list is what I think it should be. We don't have a global world rankings. We've got a few different people trying it. We've got a few countries doing it independently, but without a global official ranking, this is just how I see it rolling out. So some of these arm wrestlers I don't necessarily like their style. I don't relate to their style. I don't necessarily think some of the people on the list are the best arm wrestlers, but they may simply be the strongest arm wrestlers. I also think that some of these arm wrestlers are incredibly talented arm wrestlers, and some of them deserve to be a little higher in a lot of other people's eyes. So there's going to be a few names on this list that may be something that you don't agree with, but anyway, that's the whole point of it, is to give you my opinion, and you can either agree, disagree, whatever. That's fine. But anyway, I'm going to kick it off, and I think it's going to be pretty much a unanimous decision that the current most badass arm wrestler on the planet has to be Andrey Pushkar from the Ukraine. Andrey Pushkar is untouchable, has been untouchable for a number of years now. Left and right, he has consistently, over the last few years, dominated anyone who comes across his path, whether it's at the Russian A1 and Nemiroff Zloty Tour. Andrey Pushkar has been the man. He's won his super matches, and he has done it in dominant fashion. He has conquered Michael Todd in recent times, getting through what seemed to be an impenetrable King's move. Andrey Pushkar has shown how it's done. So Andrey Pushkar, for me, has to take the number one. I don't necessarily think Andrey Pushkar is the best arm wrestler. I'm not a fan of his style. He's very much about aggressive post and a big side pressure. He's obviously an incredibly strong athlete and has a lot of power off the go. I don't think he has a lot of endurance, but he doesn't need it at his power level. So Andrey Pushkar, for me, is the number one overall arm wrestler on the planet. I don't think he will stay there long, though. Keep that in mind. Number two, right now, I'm going to say Mr. Dave Chaffee. Dave Chaffee is in the prime seat as the number two arm wrestler on the planet. He is the next man to have a crack at Andrey Pushkar, and I think that he will get it. I think that Dave Chaffee over a 6-round super match is incredibly difficult to beat. Dave Chaffee's right arm, of course, has gone many seasons in the WAL without taking a loss. He has taken losses to different arm wrestlers at different times, but my opinion, Dave Chaffee, a healthy Dave Chaffee, he's got neck problems and all that sort of stuff at the moment, but a healthy Dave Chaffee is, for me, the current number two arm wrestler on the planet. Now, number three is going to cause some stirs, I am sure, but for me, the third best arm wrestler on the planet right now is Mr. Devon Larratt of Canada. Devon Larratt, of course, has spent a lot of time in the last few years at the 220 pound or 100 kilo weight category. But after the WAL season wrapping up in 2017, Devon Larratt has vowed to become a super heavyweight once again. Now, we have seen Devon Larratt as a super heavyweight before. He was the first man to ever defeat John Brzenk in a super match. And we saw him go through a period where he was considered one of the most, if not the best, arm wrestler on the planet. He defeated Andrey Pushkar in a super match, made him look like a fool. And Devon Larratt is returning to that shape and size and form now. So Devon Larratt, we're waiting to see it. He's going to have, hopefully, a match with Denis Saplenkov this year. But Devon Larratt, I think, right now, it'd be very difficult to bet on almost anyone against Devon Larratt in a 6-round super match now. I think Devon Larratt will surpass Dave Chaffee and Andrey Pushkar within 12 months. However, right now, for me, he is only number 3. Number 4 for me on the list of the most badass arm wrestlers right now, it's Michael Todd. Michael Todd's style, it's interesting. Yes, it gets under the skin of a lot of people. I don't personally resonate with the style that much, but I also am not a hater of the style. I think that it is permitted, and when I hear all these people saying that Michael Todd's style is so ridiculous that it's cheating, etc., etc., I say to those people, have a go at it at your next tournament. Try to be Michael Todd at your next tournament, and you watch, you'll get pinned pretty quickly, because Michael Todd's move is not the easiest move to pull off, and just to simply outlast opponents in that position is not easily. So that being said, Michael Todd has proven himself on many occasions in both the WAL tournament last year, even though it wasn't broadcast on ESPN. He went through a lot of people, Travis Page and Dave Chaffee and Nick Zena. He did this multiple times to take out that title. And although having had losses in recent years to Andrey Pushkar and to Dimitri Truman in the supermatch format, no doubting Michael Todd on the right arm is one of the most unstoppable forces on the planet. Whether you like his style or not, Michael Todd is an exceptional arm wrestler. And at his size, ranging between 300 pound and 260 pound, Michael Todd is a dangerous man. For me, number 5 goes on to Georgian LaVon Saginashvili. Now, Levan, for me, he is someone who is competing in a different league. He's been in the WAF side of arm wrestling for quite some time now. He hasn't really dabbled into the professional sort of PAL Supermatch series, the Vendettas. I would love to see Levan Saginashvili against the Andrey Pushkars, the Dave Chaffee's, Devon Larratt's, Michael Todd. The man is enormous. He has hands thicker than anyone else you'll see around in the WAF scene anyway. And he is consistently winning at that WAF scene, and he is doing incredibly well in the Zloty Tour main draw, taking that out in recent times as well. So Levan Saginashvili, for me, deserves that number 5, and I'm expecting more from him over the next few years. He is on the rise, and I think that he needs to be one of the more sought after arm wrestlers that people want to see in super matches going forward. Number 6, out of the United States, I'm going to give it to Travis Page. The man, left hand, tends to do incredibly well. He doesn't tend to lose left-handed very often at all, and even right hand, he is someone who can, on the day, almost beat anyone. Now, Travis Page is someone who gets under people's skin. He is the setup master. When I say setup master, you could also rephrase that as the setup cheat. But he is a master of manipulation of referees, a master of manipulation and intimidation of his opponents, and as a result, he gets access to power before his opponent does, and his outside game is tremendous. Travis Page, for me, takes number 6. Number 7, I'm going to give to Denis Saplenkov of Russia. Now, even though Denis Saplenkov we haven't seen pulling in a lot of tournaments in recent times, Denis Saplenkov is still a bicep animal. He is a world record holder on the strict curl. He is, of course, absolute pedigree when it comes to arm wrestling talent. A lot of people don't give Denis Saplenkov the credit that he deserves as a technician in the sport as well. He has a lot of endurance. Have a look at his match against Michael Todd. Not only does he use power, he has endurance to sit there and hang with Michael Todd and beat Michael Todd 4-2 in a 6-round super match. So Denis Saplenkov is better than most people would give him credit for. However, his interest level in the sport hasn't been as high as it has in the past, and as a result, we haven't seen him competing as often as we'd like it. That said, he is hopefully going to have a super match with Devon Larratt this year, which will really tell us where Denis is at, because we know Devon Larratt is in good form. Denis Saplenkov, for me, takes number 7. Now, number 8, I'm going to say from Kazakhstan, Dimitri Truman. Dimitri Truman, an absolute animal of a man in terms of his sheer size. You can see that he's on a lot of the good stuff. Dimitri Truman was obviously banned from the WAF for performance-enhancing steroids, whatever it was. I don't know what he was on, but he's on something because that man is big and he's constantly getting bigger. But despite the power that he has, he doesn't get the victories that I think he should be getting. He loses his hand to people like Gasparini. But having said that, it is hard to go past him as one of the most powerful arm wrestlers on the planet today, because he is just so enormous, packing so much heat. And is good in the supermatch format as well. Having previously beaten Michael Todd, Dimitri Truman is looking good, but of course he just got his ass handed to him by Dave Chaffee in recent times. So that is why for me, Dimitri Truman is number 8. Alright, number 9 is another emerging arm wrestler. This guy, I think over the next 5 years will become one of the top 3 on the planet. Vitaliyev from Russia. He is the tallest and longest forearm arm wrestler that you'll see in the super heavyweight category in the international scene at the moment, and he is brutal. I think that long arm wrestlers have more options than short arm wrestlers in the long term, and Vitali is someone that has emerged onto the scene. He has got some amazing victories over some big names, having flashed many of the super heavyweights, but has had recent finals against Levan Saginashvili at the Zloty Tour, and we've seen him in Russian Opens do quite well. I think Vitaliyev, weighing in at about 125 kilos, is somebody that is going to be a absolute wrecking ball of a top roller over the next 3 to 5 years, and he takes for me number 9 on the overalls list. And finally, probably my most controversial of these, I'm going to put someone on this list that probably doesn't deserve to be on the list, but in my mind he's somebody who could defeat many of the Europeans. He could defeat many people in the heavyweight category. We just haven't seen it yet, but I expect this of him in the very near future, and that is Canada's Matt Mask. I think Canada's Matt Mask is an incredibly explosive and wrecking ball top roller. Matt Mask, of course, competed ferociously against Devon Larratt in the WAL finals throughout the last few years. In my opinion, only due to technical errors in the matches did Matt Mask not take the WAL title. And he has the horsepower, he has the explosivity, and he has the tenacity, the commitment, the hunger to keep doing what he's doing. I think Matt Mask embracing a few extra kilos, Matt Mask sitting around that 110, 120 kilos, if we see him get to those sorts of numbers, we'll see him start to destroy many of the names that are already on this list. So Matt Mask for me, I'm going to give him the number 10 spot for the most badass arm wrestlers on the planet. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Like it, agree with it, or disagree and hate it. That is the pound for pound top 10 most badass arm wrestlers on the planet.